got your nose.
It's going to be a 30-second podcast.
Well, I could only dream of that sort of gig.
And there's no hot girls. It's all good.
One of my friends killed somebody on the plane like that.
Get it in there.
Here's the same joke in slow motion.
Wow, he really is a germaphobe.
They'll be all right.
What happened in Vegas with Piff and Paul?
This is my new face.
I think that's how you should open. That's
What? Welcome to What Happened in Vegas. With me, Piff the Man Dragon, Paul DeBeck, and today's guest, Carrot Top. What?
I know. We're just like straight out the gate.
Oh my God, Carrot Top.
Straight out the gate, Vegas royalty.
Coming up, Donny Osmond.
It's pretty impressive.
It's amazing.
When I first walked into this banana-colored room, I did not think that we would be, I had faith in you, but you got some friends in this town.
Well, Carrot Top's been amazing to me, and he's one of those rare people who I'm not sure what to call him.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of people just call me Piff.
Yeah.
And I don't really care.
Yeah.
But Carrot Top's like 2 words.
Yeah.
It's like a little more effort.
Yeah, and then there's that thing of like you want it, because I call you by your name, your Christian name, your first name all the time, and often slip up by saying that, but you don't mind, but it's just that's how I know you. Carrot Top.
It's tough.
But then you want to bond, don't you? You're like, well, I know, for you at least. Yeah, you got a little...
You can't shorten it to Carrot. Hey, Carrot.
No.
There was this guy who came to the show the other day. I don't even remember what his real name was, but he decided that he wanted to be called Kiki.
Kiki?
And I was like, I don't want to call you Kiki for the whole show.
Are you sure his name wasn't Kiki?
No, it was... Do you remember his name?
No.
Keith.
I know what you're talking about, though. Kiki is
Enrique.
a name.
His name was Enrique.
People call him Kiki.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know you that well. I don't want to call you Kiki, but Carrot Top. So anyway, Carrot Top's real name is Scott. So I think we called him Scott in this episode.
I think he kind of lets you do whatever you want, basically.
Yeah, whatever you want.
He's one of those people that has had so much success.
Yeah.
And he kind of brushes on it a little bit because obviously, sometimes you're not a victim of your own success, but like if you're successful, people are if you have a great brand, Copperfield's been around for years, people parody, you become the butt of a joke or something, but it's like you're the butt of the joke on the Tonight Show or you're the butt of the joke on, it's like, it's a weird poison
He's that
chalice.
Successful
Yeah.
That,
he's part of modern culture.
I do think that's being, what do you call it? When reevaluated now.
Oh,
I think a lot of people.
He's got like a second, second coming almost, but he never went away.
He never went away, but in the last few months, he's done a lot of great podcasts, done some great spots on Joe Rogan, Kill Tony, and people have.
Kill Tony's great because I think that's why I brought it up because he was talking about the first time he went on and he was like, the other judges gonna the other panel gonna send me up or whatever, and you watch them and they're like, he's just sort of quietly away, and then they'll roast someone, and then he'll go, wait, I have a prop for this, and everyone's like, and they're because he's
just so good.
It's great.
He's just so good, and his show is so good. That's the other thing. These people who have these shows for like 20 years, there's a reason they have them,
right? And also. What I remember now, part of that chat that was really interesting was even I think I catch myself doing it. We're talking about straight stand-up or like classic stand-up comedy and like the layers in like writing it or whatever else. And we're almost talking as if prop stuff is slightly different or whatever, and then suddenly you realize all that same structure and everything is absolutely there, and then there's this whole other process of like refinement and toppers and the creative process in like taking, it's not just like, oh, this is so-and-so's golf club, it's like there's all these other layers and gags around the same prop. It's really impressive.
There's a lot of work behind what he's doing.
It was shows. Like I felt like he was like, and then you really not just saw the usual craziness of what's in his mind. It actually gave you a little glimpse behind the process. And he's
very kind as well. When I first moved to Vegas, I literally went to see a show 10 times, and he never I never bought a ticket. He always would take care of me. And
he's you can tell he's like part of keeping there a community around artists here in town. and performers. And his Instagram's mad. I love following it. It's just that I'm like, oh, Carrot Top's back in Florida. And then he's like in some bar lip syncing to some song, having a shot of something. And then he's like, all of a sudden he's back in Vegas. He's back into to Florida.
I think he does.
wicked.
I think he does something like 4 weeks here and 1 week there,
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
He goes back a lot. But just him and his team is great. Jeff, his manager, is
Lovely people.
really good guy. And so they were. It was very nice that they came and did this podcast.
Yeah.
And I think that, he really was generous as well.
Yeah.
Like opened up and shared a lot of stuff.
It's interesting because this has happened quite a bit in here. You don't expect people to come into this room.
Yeah,
and
the shrine
suddenly-
to Piff.
Right. And so and me.
And you're right. The
There's
shelf
an
to you.
Awful. Not even you didn't even give him my own shelf. We won't cut to it because you also put the world's worst photo of me ever on there. But anyway, doesn't feel like the sort of place you come in to, open up about. But everyone's been really open and not vulnerable, but just really honest about.
Honest, yeah.
Yeah, which has been really cool. It wasn't kind of what we anticipated originally, but it's been really something about this room. Or is it maybe just you've taken your hood off? Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe it's like they walk in, they
Oh.
go, they've got bad hair. It's a place to be vulnerable. It's a
Maybe
safe
he's like,
space.
oh, he's finally taking his hood down. I can too.
Yeah. That's
What about
it
that?
is. That's what it is. It's a safe space.
What about that? If
Nothing
this is what this
about
becomes.
this room says safe space, but I think it is.
It is. It is a safe space. Here is Carrot Top in his safe space. Our guest today is a comedy icon and a hero of mine. It's Carrot Top.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Good. How are you guys? Neither one. Piff 2. Yes.
Piff 2.
All right.
No, Carrot Top.
Fuck, so do I
Carrot
become
Top's fine.
Piff 3
Carrot Top's
now?
fine. Yeah, we like Carrot Top. I
Okay,
mean,
great.
yeah. But if I'm your dear friend, you'd call me Scott, right? Oh, are we already going? Or are you
I
just-
think you should
Are you
do
starting
this.
over
I think
here?
we should.
I can
This
start
is great.
over.
No,
Use
I like this.
I think we should use absolutely.
No, I like
use
Alright,
these.
well,
This.
this
Yeah,
is
This
because
has just told everyone everything.
yeah,
everyone-
yeah. You don't need. It's over now. We don't have to do
Can I
anything.
count you in my dear friends?
You can.
Then I'll call you Scott.
Do you hear that? You can.
See, I think
as if
it's-
to say I'm.
Yeah, I'm not
I
going to
get
put you
it.
in
Fair
mine,
enough.
but yes, I like that already because my grandma would call me Carrot Top, and I thought that was just the creepiest thing.
Oh yeah.
Is that
Weird.
true?
Yeah.
I love that.
Now
Everyone
she'd say,
calls
"This
me
is my
Piff.
grandson, Carrot Top," and I'm like, "It's Scott, Grandma," and she'd already. I'm just Carrot Top. I wasn't Scott anymore.
Yeah. Everyone calls me
creepy.
Piff in real life because
Scott doesn't get her,
Yeah, right,
closer
no.
to the table she wants. At
No,
Denny's, you
exactly,
know, so-
exactly. Yeah, it was always weird. Like, it's like Grandma, and we would correct her. So if I called her Gladys, that'd be creepy, right? So,
Oh,
So
Gladys.
Carrot Top it is.
good name, right? Gladys.
Gladys-
There's
Gladys
no more
is an old
Gladyses
lady's name.
around. Yeah, Gladys.
No, Gladys is one of those names. that's
Carl
over.
and Gladys.
Don't see a
We
baby.
have a Carl in our show.
You don't see a baby Gladys.
We have a,
You know,
we have a camel called Carl in our show.
I just looked at something today. Cute girl names for 2025. And
Yeah.
you have to look it up.
This is what you're googling.
Yeah, I have a joke in the show. I was trying to find a cute girl name because I had to yell out, "Where?" And I looked it up just to see if Kai and these new names. Eleanor, and I'm like, what the
Eleanor.
fuck,
Cute
Eleanor?
girl name.
That's
These are new names for hip names for girls
they
in
do
2025.
the rounds. It's like my niece is called Elsie. That is an old lady.
Yeah, Elsie's well, not
Elsie's
old
a-
lady name, but it's an older name. Yeah, Elsie. Yeah,
Yeah, Brett just named his baby Archer or something like that.
yeah.
Baby Gary.
Archer.
I always feel like Gary's a weird name to name a baby.
Gary is a
There's
weird
so
name.
many
Gary's
Garys around.
No, there's no.
Yeah.
Gary's
I feel
not
like we're heading
I
to
w-
a
I
Well, I
would
really
trope,
didn't like
but-
Scott. I mean, it's like, oh man, but it is.
Well,
what
my
it is.
name is John, and I don't.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
everyone.
You are like the anti-Scott and the anti-John.
But there's not
I
a
like
lot
that.
of Johns, right? It's not a very common name. So that's good.
I embrace the Piff when people call me.
Yeah,
Piff.
my brother. This is I don't have to tell the whole story, but my brother was named Garrett. Okay, no, my dad worked at NASA, and he was an engineer. So when he landed in L.A. at LAX, it's still there. There's a building that says Garrett Aviation, and my brother ended up being a pilot in the Air Force. How straight that he
yeah.
named after an aviation, but not knowing he was going to go into being a pilot.
Oh, that's
And
And
if
I
he'd
was
just
named,
sort of
and I was
gone
named
into
after
the-
Scott right after my dad took a shit. He was like Scott Tissues. That's perfect. That's exactly what happened.
So I've known you. You're like one of the people I've known the longest in Vegas.
Yeah.
Long time.
Am I the only guest that's ever chewed gum during your? I just realized I had gum.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
That's-
Like how
it's-
untacky! I have a redneck am I? You didn't bring
That's
gum
very
to it.
rock and roll.
It is. It is. It's
I think
kind
it's
of.
good.
I was kind of tacky, and then I figured I started, so I figured I was.
What kind of gum do you choose?
It's some really experimenty stuff.
Spearmint thing.
Yeah, it's like
The microphone's
It's like a
big.
blast, something blast. You know.
I just can't
They
deal with
melt.
gum. It like runs out of
No, I
flavor
don't
so
know. Like
soon.
this one's good.
Really?
Icebreakers or
It's a
something. called.
long-lasting gum.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not like juicy fruit where you like 2 seconds
right,
after
2
it's
seconds
gone.
it's gone. Then you just like
Before you even unwrap it, it's not flavorful. you
right.
know?
And it's squeaking.
Yeah,
It squeaks.
I think yeah,
Squeaky.
Well, you know, if you chew gum for too long, it starts to get kind of squeaky.
Yeah, that's true.
There's that thing like if you chew like xylitol gum, all your teeth cavities
I should just
fill in.
I should just get rid of it.
Just perfect.
I love it.
When I came to Vegas,
I didn't do it. I still have it.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Oh,
stick it next
snap.
to the piece
I was
that
going to put it
Dieter
under your
stuck
desk,
under
but
there.
I
put it under my desk.
Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, there.
We should get everybody to do that.
Yeah, everybody just.
Please put it there. We want to have a piece, and you can sign it on the way out.
To sample you.
Yeah.
Well, nice. That we'll take a DNA sample.
He's like,
Oh,
you know,
we
who's
could
gum?
clone a
Who put
Carrot
gum
Top
on
now.
Yeah,
there?
you know we cloned. We cloned Mr. Piffles,
Yes,
so we could clone you.
that would be really creepy, wouldn't it?
It would be a lot weird.
Maybe
Two
you
of me.
already have been, because what I was talking to Piff about before you arrived was everybody I know when I'm chatting that has any connection to Florida, they're like, oh, he lives in Florida. And I'm like, no, he's in Vegas. And I know you're always back and two
Yeah,
between
yeah.
the two places.
What's your
My
schedule?
dear friend this morning was like, oh, he lives in Winter Park. Or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it Winter Park? the
Winter
area?
Park, yeah.
I was like, how people know? Florida love you too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a long flight. So how
It
do
is
you
the
manage
only
to do
thing
that schedule
that's the
and go
only
back and
thing.
two?
It's the only thing that's kind of it's a long flight, but
And the
it's,
time
you get there,
difference.
it's great, but it is a long.
Who do you fly with?
People that like,
Southwest?
No, my brother flies for Southwest. That's one reason I don't fly with Southwest, because I don't want my brother flying me.
No.
It's creepy. Right?
Good luck, everyone else.
No, seriously,
Southwest.
my brother's up there flying the plane. Like, God, what are we, you know? He's a great pilot, but still, I don't want my brother flying me. So,
So
no, I
Garrett and
fly
Carrot,
whatever
I love
airlines
it.
can get me. You know,
Oh,
get me there.
you don't care. Just whatever.
I mean,
it is.
Delta United, American, one of those big three get there.
So you do every 5th week in Florida or something?
Every about 3 or 4
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You go to Florida for like a week,
a week.
and you're
You're tracking me.
yeah. I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going sort of on your. I thought you were dashing there on your dark days kind of thing. And I was like,
Oh
that
no
must be so tight to get there with the time
that's
difference.
no. Just on the weeks off.
Nice.
it'd be incredible to go back every Sunday. But
Do you think that's
Yeah.
what has helped you stay? You know, because Vegas is awesome and I love it, but I love the fact that I'm not here all the time. So
Right,
but I
sure.
enjoy coming back. Like, do you think like you've been here so long? You've been like in. Have you been at that theater nearly most of your residency?
well, we've been there. This will be 20 years.
Wow,
That's
20
20
it's
years.
a great room for comedy.
It's a great
that
room. Yeah, when I first got in there, I didn't know about. I mean, we were at the MGM prior to that. We're the Celebrity Theater, and it was booths and whatnot. And then in the back it was a weird theater. But I
It's the
always
Copperfield Theater
I was
now, right?
just like saying
It's the
Copperfield,
Copperfield
yeah.
Theater,
That's
yeah.
why I'm at the Luxor, because Copperfield wanted that room.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. So it was funny when they came to me and said, "Listen, David Copperfield wants the room." So it's Copperfield Carrot Top. So I said, "I guess he's getting the room." And then they said, "Well, there's a room at the Luxor," and we went over and looked at it. And at first I was like, "Wow, this is it's stadium seating. It's
Yeah.
it's really cool. It's
Well,
great.
and it's kind of quite raked, so they're right
yeah, right,
there.
exactly.
And
So
I
you-
always
yeah,
think
each
like
seat really is not
for
bad.
Magic, because I'm
Sure.
from Magic. I'm like, this would be such a great theater
Yeah.
for Magic. And of course, what you do is like similar in a way.
It's
that
so
you
great
want
because
them to
It'd
see
be a
the
great room
props
for
and-
comedy if there was
it's
a
just
comedy
brilliant.
show in there too.
No,
But no, but it turned out it's a great room, and yeah, we got so 20 years there, and then
Wow.
at the MGM 10.
wow.
So yeah, it's going.
And were
up
you
in 30.
full time at MGM?
No, the MGM was like kind of an. As I make fun of the residencies they call
Yeah.
here, like you and I are actual residency. I do a thing in the show where Adele has a residency. How many shows did Adele do? Like 6. It's not even a week. Okay, it's not a residency. So
They just presented Jerry Seinfeld with like he's done 100 shows
yeah.
after all these years.
Yeah.
And they gave him like a thing and made a big deal. I mean, 100 shows. That's like
100
3
shows.
months.
Jesus, yeah. It's like
God.
it's a month.
Yeah,
It's 2 months for us.
exactly.
Yeah. It's 2 months. Why are they getting me a clock?
Well,
I don't
that's-
understand. I just
Well, Jerry was going to be on next week. So
Yeah, so
now
not
it's
anymore.
great.
there goes that.
It's over.
Yeah, it's been a nice run. Yeah, we've been 20 years there at the Luxor, and it's an incredible
But also, you don't stop because it's like
But to answer your
whatever's
question-
topical, you've got
Oh,
something
absolutely.
new.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That, and I
that's the
think
fun.
like I think you're the only one who does that, right?
The
I
one-
can't think of another show who is that current.
The cycles that much.
Well, I
stuff
don't know
through.
because a lot of shows, especially out in Vegas, that they don't have the opportunity because
Right.
it's they say a circ show or something, it's a dance
Right.
show, where they don't have the luxury of changing each day.
But I
So
don't
I can
know
put
that
in something brand
I
new
don't
every
even
night.
see stand-ups work material in as quickly as you.
No.
No,
You think there's something because of the visual where you can because
Well, I even
I've
just
seen,
add stand-ups. I mean, I do a lot of stand-up stories.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it last night. We were talking about the fact in Vegas, and we were saying, a lot of comics can come through and or bands can come and do the same routine or whatever because Vegas audiences,
Yeah.
there's new crowds every night.
Yeah.
And they would say that on cruise ships. I'm like, okay, it's kind of different on a cruise ship. It's true. You get new, and then you go off on a new cruise. But Vegas, you get a lot of return.
Yeah.
A lot of return. I mean, every night at my meet and greet, they're like, this is my 9th time kind of
Yeah.
thing. So not only prior to knowing that knowledge about that, I always wanted to keep the show fresh, not only for me and my crew, but even the audience, when the audience would be, they're savvy to it. They're like, he's doing a tariff joke, and it just happened in the news kind of thing. So
Right.
I've always found it to
I
be
think that's so
important.
cool though because obviously you're writing the comedy around it. Then often if it's something
Right.
with a prop, you've got to go. You're adding that as
Right,
well.
sure.
So actually, there's a lot of work in that. But for some reason, do you think it's because I work with props, Piff works with props. There's an excitement about going away and trying and building something. But in like magic, you've kind of got to hide all the
Magic,
all
and
the
also
other stuff.
You've
and
got to
the
do a trick,
development.
and you got to do all this.
And
other
you're like,
garbage.
you get to like
Yeah.
get in that initial excitement of like,
Yeah.
oh, this thing works or whatever, and then
Yeah,
get it in there.
yeah, it's
And
exciting. That is fun. That's like the best
I've
part
watched
about it.
you on your Instagram,
Yeah.
working on stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I get that
Yeah.
feeling. It's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of-
fun it's always have fun to any one of us have, it's a new thing and it works. It's such a great, even if it's a prop or a joke, it's just so
It's
fun to
the
come back
best.
and say, hey, that new one worked. I do a thing about Dolly Parton playing Caesars, and you can tell it's new because she just signed on.
Yeah.
And behind me, we're lucky we have that big screen. So this is a new one in a sense, and it's a great visual. So you say Dolly Parton's playing Caesars, and everybody was saying, how come she's not playing the sphere? And they show the sphere, and then I say she couldn't play the sphere. They'd have to have two, and they have two spheres. So it's a great stand-up joke. Even if you just said it, you don't
Right.
have to visually see it. But then you get the two spheres, and then the double vision song comes on. It's a whole it's a layer. So last night we were like, hey, the new Dolly one worked. It's good.
Right,
Yeah.
I
so
knew it
you've
would
come up
work.
with the
I knew
bit,
it
and
would
then you
work.
found like
Right.
because you've got those other elements. You've got like you can do verbal
Right.
topper, visual topper.
Yeah, I
music
love
topper.
I love that
Yeah.
because I've always liked even with I used to go with the props and whatnot that I've done from day one, not day one, but early.
Yeah, sure.
You can use that now with the video wall almost
Right.
in an artsy way without having to build a prop like that one in a sense.
Right.
They can see it. There's two spheres.
Right, in the old days, you might have like had to be blown up a
Or-
ball
right,
and doing
right,
a
and say,
thing,
no, they'd
or
have to right
made it
exactly.
in miniature, or
Right, so you can
whatever.
boom, boom, and,
Yeah.
and you can use that as a big punchline. We just did a brand new joke, and I mean, I'm talking brand new, 2 days old. We were driving home back from work, and there's a big billboard, and I'm not picking on another hotel. It's just a joke, but it's a Sahara pool. It's a
Right.
big billboard, and it says really hot chick on the billboard, and it says "Meet me at the pool." And I show it. I said, "Have you seen this one? Meet me at the pool." Wow, look at that hot. And then you get there, and it's a picture of 95 gay guys, in a pool. It's just it's instantly funny because everyone sees the
Yeah.
"Meet me at the pool." Then you get there, you're like, "Oh, has anyone seen?" That's where I was looking for the girl. Has
Yeah.
anyone seen Kaya? Where's Kaya?
that-
You know?
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's an instant joke because they see, and they all have witnessed it. They've all gone to the pool, and there's no hot girls. It's all dudes.
And like you say, it's this shorthand to getting to the punchline. And
Right.
maybe that's when you're doing just like straight stand up. Maybe that's you've got to go out and work that nuance to
Well, sure,
find how
sure.
do we get from
Oh,
A to B. But
absolute-
when
oh.
you're using that visual, I mean, it's interesting because magic. Obviously, there's been this big trend in like suddenly doing stuff on TV screens and big screens, whatever.
Yeah.
But often that's the worst way to do it. It's just being performed for the screen. But when you lean into it and start using it
Yeah.
in interesting ways, you use the video lots in the show now.
Yeah,
It's
I love
like
it's like a whole other cool
Oh, it's a whole other element. Yeah, exactly.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
we
worse than
use-
just watching it and feeling like it's a TV show.
Yeah, we use QLab. You guys use QLab? PowerPoint. Yeah, exactly. But QLab's basically like a PowerPoint, and it becomes like another way to tell jokes.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The whole show's layered, and there's so much stuff that's just that has that video wall behind you. It's a
Right.
great punchline.
And
It's
whoever's working it almost is like your drummer, right?
Oh,
You've
yeah.
got to be
It's
there
like
on
a
the
rhythm.
and
timing
I,
of
you know,
It's a
I'm not
rhythm.
going to say I'm the first guy to do it in comedy because this is God Almighty. It had to have been MGM days, so 20 years ago, at least 25 years ago, maybe God even longer than that. We were doing. I had my big screen up,
Yeah.
and it just had my logo on it for years. It just said Carrot Top, and so I did that all the way back when I had my little trunks on the Tonight Show or whatever. I'd put Carrot Top just because marketing.
Right.
And one night, my lighting guy just comes up after the show. He's like, you should use that video that wall for something. And I said, what? I have Carrot Top on it. He goes, no, do a joke on it.
Yeah.
So the first one I did was Michael Jackson, whatever. He was, of course, alive then and very popular. And so I put his face up, and then I went, got your nose, and do like this, and his nose would go away, and it killed. I mean, it was the first. And I remember my Jimmy guy's like, see, you can use that wall. And I said, got your nose, and it would just his nose would go away. See, because he had no nose, but it was great. And then from then on, it was like,
Isn't that wild to think of a time where like that technology was on stage, but people weren't
never
using it for
it.
anything
Yeah.
other
Didn't
than,
even think
like
to
you
use
say,
it. I give my credit to
set.
my sound guy, Jimmy. He was right on it. He would sit there all night watching the show, like they should do something with that. And it's true. Now it's addictive. Now
That's
that's the
It's
problem. Now it's
addictive.
every other second there's a joke
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, it's addictive, and it's like you get into basically presenting a slideshow. Like
Yeah, somewhat. If you overdo it, that's why try not to
Yeah.
overdo it. I try to tell some stories too, but it's a nice layer.
Yeah.
You've got your show is interesting because you have two different gears in your show. You have the one where you're just punching people with props, and you can't breathe. It's so funny. And then you sort of give the audience a little break and you tell a story.
Then I start doing your material. I give them a little break.
Exactly. Then you get the dog out, do my material. But do you like when you're like crushing like that and making them laugh that hard? Are you intentionally going, oh, I need to give them a break?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I don't look like I well think things out, but I do. So yeah, it's definitely as all of us know, it's an organized mess. I mean, there's a structured outline to the show. The beginning is rapid, kind of what people think they would get Carrot Top, and then you kind of slowly start doing stuff. So
What
much.
the hell
Yeah,
is that?
sorry,
We're leaving.
Sorry, I
port.
had yes, I wanted
felt
something
like
at
I was back on a
Starbucks. Sorry.
cruise ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fans have heard.
I think the
that
robot's
Scott,
taking over.
Gladys's grandson, is
Yeah.
here, and
Yes,
they are.
you have.
outside.
I mean, I thought we had rats at the Luxor. You guys got some serious problems in there. But yeah. So it's thought out. We do the thing, and then I get to go into a little, and then I go then I go fast again, and then at the end I really have slowed it down and tell a whole story about Gallagher. It's a great story, and people. I mean, it's so quiet. And they're listening to and then it ends. It's an ending is more upbeat, but it's just that one moment where it's like they're listening to every second of the story,
Yeah.
and that's when you start thinking, "Well, this thing better have a good end to it," right? Because I never used to do that. I was always afraid to tell a story, and like now you get. I mean, it's like 10 minutes of them just listening, nothing, and then you get the punch, and it's there, and you're like, "Thank God."
But that's the art form. Like, I mean, I haven't been in Vegas that long, but I've been coming here for a long time. And the thing that I love looking back at the old school Vegas headliners, and that's the mastery of that kind of the Vegas show. People think, oh, it's just a Vegas show, but it's like, you look at those Sammy Davis Jr. or, some of those impression shows, it's got to have all that nuance in there. Otherwise,
it's not a show.
It's
yeah,
just
right. Yeah, I mean, I've always
I love
from
that.
from day one as well. I always did that. I mean, I know I had to have been the first one. The comedy clubs, even TV shows. I brought like my strobe light and my fog machine,
Right.
and people are like, "What the?" And I'm like, I had a bit about smoking, so I'd have a smoke machine, and I'd have the wind for a hurricane joke because I was playing in Florida, and strobe lights for I don't even remember the joke was. It was something in slow motion. Here's the same joke in slow motion,
Yeah.
and it didn't make any sense, but it looked cool, and it was
Right.
just production. And comedy clubs were like, "What the
'cause
what
no
the
one's
hell
doing
is this?
that.
And what is this?" Because they'd have Seinfeld or Foxworthy, just stand there on a stool.
Yeah.
When I come in, I've got leaf blowers and strobe lights and
Yeah,
fog machines, but they loved it. The crowd loved it.
Crowd loved it.
You know, but even the staff's
right.
like, this is so awesome.
Yeah, 'cause it's
we never
something
have
different, right.
we never had this before at the Comedy Zone or wherever it was we played. So it was but it always from day one wanted to be a show. I didn't want it to just be
a spot.
Yeah, I wanted people to leave, like when you leave a rock show, there's like confetti coming down and people,
Right.
there's music playing and there's just an energy like we just went to a concert.
Well, the last time I saw you, the end of your show, it is
Yeah.
like a pastiche to that, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
and
why
that's
why
exactly the vibe.
I kind of exactly. So it
Yeah.
ended kind of on a rock and roll kind of. It's called the rock and roll trunk. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's a whole bang 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 of rock and roll. Yeah, it's fun. I like it. It's fun to dance around like an idiot.
Yeah.
So. And which is funny, you just said the old school, maybe the old school headliners, and now we're going to be that. Now we're going to be right. So they can say, the old school guy, remember the old like Carrot and Piff, and like, oh man, because now
the
we're
old
the
school
old now
never
we're the old
dates.
school guys.
We've had the show here for 10 years now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That is really crazy.
Well, congrats on that too. It's amazing.
Well, it's not quite 20.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
20
and then
and
plus another 10.
10
When you were
before
at
that.
MGM, were you touring as well?
Yes.
Oh, yes. You
Yeah.
do like a few weeks in MGM and then tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So MGM, right? Exactly. 2 weeks at MGM, then we go on the road, come back, do another couple. So it was like 8 weeks or something back at the MGM days. But we were just road shows.
Yeah.
When did you start? Do you still do any?
We
I
do
know
some.
You have a
We
lot
do
of
some.
time for many, but 'cause
We
you
do
a lot of
some. Yeah.
shows here,
We do
but
some. We go out once in a while.
Do you
and it's
like
fun.
going back and doing
Yeah,
that?
it's fun. I mean, it's old school, like you said. You have the tour bus, and you're kind of working a little bit harder because you have to do a different show. You can't do the Vegas show, which you know what I mean. So
And you're in a
you're in
different
Chicago,
rhythm,
you got to
yeah.
do
Right, of course.
So you
yeah.
can't just say, hey, Vegas.
Yeah.
What? So it requires you to work a little bit harder and have a different outline. It's a road show as opposed to a Vegas show. You kind of, you got it down. I think.
I find they're more responsive on tour. People are like, it's like, one of 12 things they're doing. Whereas on tour, it's like, this is the big thing.
Oh,
we're doing
sure.
this
They've
week.
waited, gotten babysitters, and waited months to see you.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they come out.
Oh,
fine.
absolutely. I mean, that's one thing when we very beginning of doing Vegas, I couldn't figure out Vegas. I just couldn't. And I wouldn't say I was a pro, but I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Vegas it was like a hiccup. We would say, oh, Vegas, we got to do Vegas today. And then we leave Vegas, and we're back on the road, and people are wearing Carrot Top shirts, and you're a star, and people are getting by the bus to say hi and take pictures. And then Vegas are like, what time does O start?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Huh.
So it was humbling, I guess, also.
So
And
wild
after
to
doing it
hear
so
that
long, you
when
kind
you've
of
been
learn
here
it.
so long, and that would be something
It
you'd
took
feel.
me.
Right, to
Seriously,
crack
it
at.
just kind of learned it. Not even in the last
Couple of
run
weeks.
here. Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, I've found.
clicked.
I'm not curious. I'm serious. The first part of my especially the MGM days, no clue. And the first part of the Luxor, I really didn't. I just one day I was just like, I think I figured out how to get to do a Vegas crowd and give them what they want. And,
You have
and
that
the
great
speed
thing.
of what they want.
Yeah. When
you
you come out, it's unbelievable. And also, you're just like complimenting the crowd as soon as you're out there. You're getting them going.
Yeah, well, you got to tell the crowd they're great, even if they suck, right?
Right.
You guys are great. I was watching a show last night, and it was a monologue, and it literally stopped right in the middle of it, and he goes, "Man, you guys are tough tonight." And I just thought, we all do that, but I was an audience just sitting home watching it on TV. I could tell that the audience was bad,
Right.
but for him just to stop and go, "Man, you guys are tough tonight." And they still didn't laugh. And then he did the next 4 or 5 jokes. I was like, wow, that's just like, show business.
That's a whole other level of.
Because
I
usually
got-
TV shows are so amped.
right.
You've been to a taping where they're
Yeah.
just so amped. I mean, you can't.
It's not real.
They're so
world.
excited, that they
They're
get
out there-
them up and
Right. They're out of the chairs as soon as you walk on.
right.
And they're so ready because the warm up. If they're a good warm up, they've been out and entertained, but really they're not doing
Right.
material. They're out there getting them ready. So they're so desperate for
Sure,
whatever's about
and
to come,
but it's
right?
also interesting because who you would sometimes what a guest you'd follow. Like, so let's say the Tonight Show, you go on there and the crowd's amped, ready. Jay does his thing. The crowd's great. Then they have on a guest, and it's like,
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't say the name of the guest naturally, right? But it was. I've been on the show many times, and there was a few that would set you up really good because they were
Right.
energy and funny, and there'd be one that were talking, like, I don't know, just and. By the time you get up, the crowd's dead again. but then it would be at your advantage because now they want to laugh again. So
Right.
you could, it would,
just gotta take 'em.
sometimes it would work in your advantage. Sometimes it would be tough. But do you ever do the telethon?
No.
Wow.
All right, that was the hardest in my life. So I had done it many, many, many times. And Jerry Lewis and I actually were pretty good friends. And it was when Ed McMahon, and was doing that co-hosting with him, and he came back and he went out. Jerry went out and he said, hey, our numbers. Let's go through the numbers. We're close. And he looks over like he's gonna bring me up. He says, we got one, the next one, boy. You talk about numbers going, and all of a sudden, this girl comes out with a note, gives it to him, and Jerry reads it, and apparently one of their kids that they really good kids just had literally had just passed away, and I'm sitting there with Ed McMahon, and he says, oh my God, and they already had the picture of the kid. They put the kid up on the big jumbo thing. And what I'm saying, everyone's crying. He's crying. I'm crying. I'm like,
God.
we're all like, oh my God. And I look over at Ed and I said, he's not bringing me out, is he? And Ed said, I don't know. And I looked over to the other. I said, he's not bringing me out because he was looking over at me. And I said, we're going to go to commercial, right? And Ed said, I think he's going to bring you out. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. And sure enough, he said, we're going to bring out the guy that'll make this all better.
Oh,
And
no.
I went out, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I mean, what jokes? Nothing's even appropriate at that moment, right? Nothing.
Right.
I don't care
And
what,
we're sitting here
what
going
stupid
like, well,
thing. Look, I
what's the
got a
punchline?
boot
But
with a
even if
kickstand
it's
for
dark.
drunk people. Whatever the prop would be, it would be horrible, right? At that moment. So I kind of looked down to think, what's the most dumbest, silliest, nothing. And I did, like 2 jokes, nothing. Maybe the next 3rd joke, the band is starting to laugh and do like a cymbal thing. And because I was always wanted to name my book, I made the band laugh, because that's when you're on a TV show, the band's laughing,
Right.
because they're hard to get the band to laugh. So you've done good. So they were laughing, and finally the crowd started to come around. I did okay, and I came off, and Jerry came over and I said, well, and he said, I would say sorry about that, but you're the only guy that could do that.
Right.
And I just thought, well, that was nice of him to think that, but I was kind of wishing he would say,
But
I'm
also,
sorry
fuck
I
you,
did that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I did that to you.
Yeah, just because you can do it doesn't mean you want to do it.
Yeah. And then, after that, Ed came over and said the same thing. He says, he loves you so much, he knew that you could handle the spot. But I'm like,
Oh.
it was not fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, to tell that story now, there is also that kind of bit of like you say, I guess the further you get away and probably the more secure you are, you're like, that is pretty cool that he thought that. But also,
Right.
maybe you could say that in the commercial
Yeah.
break before I go
If
on.
he knew that you could do it, he could also give you the commercial. I mean,
You're
it's
right.
like-
That's what I just commercial break. And then, I mean,
Right.
it was rough.
What would be the gift is the compliment and allowing me to kill in the
Yeah.
the spot.
I did a basketball game. So we met because I did a show called Rose Rabbit Lie, and Shania Twain brought you to the show.
Yes.
And then I started going to your show, and I loved
She
it so
dropped
much.
him off today as well. It's amazing.
Really?
She takes
That's
care of it.
She's so nice. Then I came to your show like 8 or 9 times in that first year I was here because I loved it so much. But I was out of work after about 6 months being in Vegas, because that show that you went to
Right, sure.
closed down. And so I was like, I need to get a job in the 6 months. And one of the things I did was a basketball game, like that NBA halftime thing. And just before I went on, this kid went up and his mother had just died, and was crying and telling the audience like, how much he loved his mother and missed his mother. And then they were like, and now Piff the Mighty Dragon. And I bombed so hard. The band was not laughing.
Yeah.
It was just a disaster.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
there's
was a
nothing.
halftime show,
Halftime
like in the
show.
middle of the ring.
Yeah.
You were doing the middle.
See,
Isn't
that's
it
gonna-
normally like a
that's
big
gonna-
circus act or something?
I'd take anything I could get.
Well, I could only dream of that sort of gig. So,
Take
do you know
whatever I
who
could
books
get.
that?
Yeah.
I do know who books that, and he couldn't look me in the eyes after when I was walking off.
Oh,
He was just
oh,
like,
that's
oh.
the worst.
Now I wrote a joke for you once. Do you remember this?
Oh my God. What was it?
This is like one of my
A
crowning
joke
achievements.
in amongst the entirety of Carrot Top's
single
back
one.
Let's see if it was
catalogue,
one
you're
that's still
asking-
on the show. Is rocking it.
I don't think it's still on the show.
Was it a Nixon joke? Yeah.
It wasn't even a full joke. It was more of a top up.
Like a little tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that when comics come and show them like I got to tag, and it's, usually they are really good. You're
Yeah.
good, but then sometimes I'm like, well, no, I can't go back to, I can't go back to that.
This was a joke that we talked about at lunch and you put in the show that night.
Oh, this is cool.
Remember? You were doing the thing about the iPhone 12
Yeah.
or whatever,
Mhm.
and being a really big iPhone. And I said you should have a really big charger.
Huh.
And you made a big charger.
I did.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not in the show anymore, but I remember that.
I don't think it made it past night one by the looks of things.
No, it
John.
was in there for a while.
It was in there for only the nights you would come.
It's on my resume. Yeah, right.
No,
on-
but you're right.
it's
No,
Piffing.
yeah.
Bring the charger back
Oh,
on.
God, he's coming again.
Yeah.
Let's bring the charger in.
Let's go
Yeah.
next week. I want to
That's
see the
so
charger
funny.
bit.
Oh, it's funny.
Well, that's one of the...
Yeah, I remember. Now you say that, I remember that. We made a big charger. It had the things on it, but
It's
I
one
don't
of my
remember.
proudest
I don't remember
achievements.
the punchline. I remember the prop with the big charger, but I remember the joke
Yeah, I
was that
don't know
iPhone
what-
was big or something.
It was something about the iPhone being big.
Got the new iPhone. You see the charger?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's good though. No, it's already funny just
Tiff
saying
really
it.
just wants to keep that right in
It's funny
credit,
saying
so-
it.
I
so-
just want to get that on tape
Yeah.
so that I can have confirmation.
We can edit out the indifference.
It's
so
going
it's
to be a
okay.
30-second podcast. And with just you going, yes, you,
Yeah,
okay,
yes,
yes.
you wrote me back.
Yes, you did write a joke once.
It was a large charger.
Yeah. Before you were at MGM, what were you doing at that point? You were touring? You were
Yeah.
doing clubs? Because we did clubs off when America's Got Talent happened, we mainly played clubs for a year.
Right.
And we upset so many owners because we have all these props and like we need the screen and we need the microphones, and it was just a nightmare. So we had to in the end go to small theaters, which you still play now, which is a lot easier. But when you were doing those clubs coming up, did you just get nothing but eye rolls from these owners and from the other comedians?
Maybe the first time around.
Yeah, until they see you're funny.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we would go through these clubs, they were like, what is, but then they would see the show and then they'd get,
Yeah.
when they booked me again, of course, then it was like a big deal, Carrot Top's, the weekends or whatever, we'd do great. But for early on, sure, I always got that,
Yeah.
Did you manage to get on TV like pretty early, or were you doing the rounds for a few years?
Oh no,
where
it
they
was
hadn't
definitely not
seen-
right away, but it was earlier than maybe most. I mean, some friends of mine still have never gotten on TV. They've been doing it for 30 years, but
But that's half the thing.
right.
You were different,
I was exactly. I was different and unique, and it was made for television. It was
Yeah.
everything is perfect. It was visuals. It's television. It's
And you can do
current.
anything from 30 seconds
yeah, it's
to
current and
whatever,
it's
yeah.
right. And it's topical. It's current and it's visual and it's it had I knew it was gonna work eventually, but I never was on. People would come up to the all of a sudden, how come you're not on TV? I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't have that my decision.
Right.
I make this to be on TV. So
Yeah, I had a guy come up to me the other day and he said, you know what you should do? You should like film this show and get put it on Netflix. I was like, oh, you think I should have a Netflix special? That was what was holding me back, just the lack of the idea.
Yeah.
Now you've said it,
yeah.
I'm in.
How would that work?
Yeah,
Remember
tell
when
me, how
Netflix
did-
came
how
along?
did
Do you remember when Netflix came along and I was like, so I'm going to give you money to watch TV? Hang on,
send me
what's
a
going on?
DVD.
This will never work.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, in the post.
to lend me a DVD.
Yeah, that'll never work.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Did you obviously you do, like you say, you tell stories and do kind of stand up without the props too, and the props have been in. Was it always like from your first like 5 or your first 10 minute spot? Did you always have props in the act? Or was it something you're like, oh, that prop bit's going well, I should do more of that? Like when you first started?
First started, there wasn't props, and then I had one.
Right.
What was the first one?
Yeah, what was the
It
first prop?
it was a neighborhood crime watch sign that I stole,
Right.
and I would come on stage and I'd hold it up. It was a big metal neighborhood crime watch. I just said, sorry, I'm late. I'm in the neighborhood. And everybody laughed, and I would say, how good is their crime watch if they're not watching their signs? And it was just a clever, instantly fun. And so I went to this club in Tampa and I auditioned
Which
for
club?
the Comedy Corner
Right.
in West Palm Beach. And I went to, because I was going to school in Boca. And so I would listen to on the radio every day, the Comedy Corner, but they had all the big names, Seinfelds and all this, and I'd go down there and I'd never even seen a comedy show. Never. And I just would hear on the news, 5 o'clock funnies on, and I went down and I said, can I audition? And I'd never done stand-up. I never did. And so I went up and she's like, in the middle of the afternoon, no one there. She's like, well, tell me, do some of your act. And I was like, okay. So I just started doing what I did at the school. And I opened, it wasn't a comic. I went up and I just said, hey, there's, something about our parking at our school and books. And it was funny, but she's like, that's very, it's not very, it's specific to like your college. I mean, she's like, you're playing, the world. So I said,
I'm a big name.
And she said, come back. Yeah. Come back. If you could come up with something more broad.
Yeah.
Because I like you already. I like
That's
your
cool.
style and your look, and I like your cadence. So I went and I had a crime watch on we'd stolen, and I said, okay, I'll take that. And then there was the street that goes right through Boca Raton is called Butts Road. So me and my friends, I said, we got to take this. So I took, and that's where all the assholes live. So we took Butts Road. And so I went down, I had the Crime Watch sign in Butts Road and one other one. And she said, like, where did you get that? I said, I stole it. And she says, if you had more stuff like this, I think you're onto something. I said, I can go steal more signs. And so I went around town. I just started finding all these funny road signs. There's one that said slow children at play. And they still have them. They're just a stick figure with no feet. And I said, no wonder they're slow. They don't have any feet. And it would kill. Like, it's just people are like, this is crazy. So she said, so it was all these signs that I would do, no train horn between these hours. That's when you need the horn. Like it's all these clever. And then she said, I like all the visual stuff. Maybe if you could come up with some more. And I didn't even know what she meant. So I'm like, so I just came up with a head, an old lady head that went on my hat. It had a spring on it. Because I live in Florida, it's all the old people. So I said, I made this hat for my grandma to wear when she's driving. So her head went above the seat. And it would just kill, and I'd put that on, and then I'd hold a hula hoop like it was a steering wheel, and people in Florida would just lose their mind. Like this guy's, he's talking to all of us at work. I'd make up a joke about my hair. The hurricane did it or something. It's stupid, and that's when I just started doing more props. I had like a high heel with training wheels so women could learn how to walk. And they had one for rednecks, had big wheels, and it was all these. I just kept writing them. Here's a hanger for a midget. And I just kept writing all these props. And finally I had about 10 minutes and I went and auditioned and I won the thing at the Comedy Corner. And it was just like, people were so mad. I mean, the comics were mad that because there was this, who's this guy that I know that just came in and with all this. I said, but I had to build the shit. It wasn't like, I used to always think that from day one too. You're giving me a hard time for being a prop guy, but I made all this. I like created it.
Yeah.
Because Regis would say that to me when I did the show. Where do you get all this stuff? And I said, I make it.
Right.
And he didn't understand that.
Yeah.
What do you mean you make it? I said, I create it. I think of it and I build it. And he's like, oh, I thought you just found this at like junkyards. I'm like, how would you find a prop? You could find the prop to make it,
Right.
but you're not just going to find a
finished piece of
a finished piece.
material.
Oh, that
Yeah,
looks
you
funny.
craft it like you do.
So I'd find
any
a
joke. Yeah.
right. I'd find a little mini toilet, and I would sit there and think, what's funny about a toilet? Oh, I'll put a plate on it. It's a plate for bulimic, so they could eat and throw up. And that was that was the formula. I would see something funny, and then I'd build something with it, and then people were the comics were behind my back. They hated me, but then but then we all go to Denny's afterwards, and they were we were friendly. And then Dan Whitney, Larry the Cable Guy, was the reason I got into that whole thing. He started when I did at the same club.
Yeah. And
he was like, let him go up there. This guy's great. And they were like, they were fighting it. And Dan said, no, this guy's great. And I ended up winning it. And we became friends. And then I had never done anything longer than, 5 minutes. And he called me up and he said, I've got this gig in Palm Beach. It's, you got to do like 20 minutes. And I'm like, I don't have 20 minutes. And I remember him saying, well, just build more shit. And I said, that's hilarious. And that's how I would become a middle act. You just build more stuff. And if you build more stuff, you can become a headliner. So the more stuff I built, the longer time I could do. And so I just kept building and building and building and building. Except it wasn't all A stuff. It would be like my A stuff, and then at the bottom was my B, C crappy stuff.
Yeah.
So once I had one full trunk of like A stuff, I felt, I could really go out somewhere in middle and open up for, I opened it for a whole bunch of people. But I had 25 minutes of just every one of them is a surefire hit.
Yeah.
It was a Barry Bonds bat with pills in it. Whatever the prop was, it was like, it's going to work. It was all A stuff,
Did you have to?
Now I have I still have the same amount of A stuff. I have
Right.
some more crap than I have A stuff.
You know what? Listening to that, and maybe this is the point, is I'm having the same realization in, some of the terms you use around it. Because, the way you're talking there, I'm like, well, yeah, this is just a visual representation of writing material. Like, you have your A stuff, you have your B stuff, and it's only that it's tangible.
Yeah.
You're crafting and spending the same amount of time and thought, and also like the material's kind of in two different ways. A lot of it, the stuff you're doing, the early stuff, it's observational humor, right? You're
Sure.
finding the joke that people look at every day in that
Right.
sign or whatever, but they've not put two and two together.
Right, sure.
Or you're creating something weird where you're putting two completely different odd things
Exactly.
together.
There was
But it's
one,
just
there's
same as straight stand-up.
Well, and that's exactly true. And that's when George Carlin, now, coming from George Carlin, that was, probably the most surreal thing in the world. Not only did he know, knew of me, but he knew my bits, So when I met him at the airport one time, just Philadelphia airport, he just, it was one of those guys, I didn't want to walk and bother him. So I said, I don't want to bother you. And he said, you're not bothering me. I said, I'm a comedian. He goes, Carrot Top, I know you are. And it was just like,
Wow.
it gives me chills, right?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh my God, like you, and he goes, no, I like that. I had a couple that, and it's weird. I remember exactly what he said. He said, I like the ice tray thing. And I'm like, ice tray? That was like my very early one. It was an ice tray that had a level on it. So you could put it back in the freezer without spilling the water. Right now, exactly what you're saying. Everyone
hits everyone in that
everyone
place
knows doing
where
that, but
they're
they got no one thought put a level on it. So he's like, that shit, right? I said, oh, and he said, you have this asthma thing. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, it was an asthma thing that had a party favor on it, so you could do asthma, but still on New Year's Eve you could still. And he just thought that was so. He's like, that's clever shit, right? So I was like, all these other comics give me crap.
Right.
George
Right.
Carlin says that shit. I had my big closer in all the clubs for years was, and I'm probably the most proud of this one as a prop. Was the paper cups and string phone, the silly prop,
Mhm.
hey, what's going on? Like kids, hey, we're in the fort, you have the two cups. Well, same thing. I'm sitting there one night. Maybe it was a TV show. I don't know. I was watching, they had the cups and string. And I just was watching it. I said, there's got to be an updated version to this. The telephone is just, someone's talking on a phone to another phone. Isn't there call waiting now? So I had another cup that came out of the other cup for call waiting. So you'd say, hey, what's going on? I have to call you back. I have another call. Hey, what's going on? And it was like killed, right? And then I had 3 cups for conference calling that come out. And then I say call forwarding, and I throw the pop into the crowd. And then I had a clear cup for caller ID. I know it's you, pick up. And it was like bam to bam to bam. And that was what Carlin said. That shit was
Right.
fucking brilliant. I remember him saying brilliant. And I thought George Carlin thought something I did was brilliant. That made my...
Right.
That kind of was the end of me caring what anybody
Right.
said. It had to be
Yeah.
that one
Well,
moment.
it's kind of, if you can only see the props, which is hilarious
Right,
because of course
right.
it's so much what you do, and you can't see behind it. Maybe that performer hasn't really grasped what
But that's-
the
Sure.
craft of
Sure, right,
comedy
sure,
is, you know,
sure,
because
right.
like you're telling me that I've never seen you do the cup bit, but that you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, and there's that topper, and then you find something else, and then you find something else, and then then it's done. It's the same as
It's like the
writing a
big
joke.
charger.
The big charger.
The big charger.
No, it's a really good.
big charger.
Now you
didn't
said
even-
that. I got to find that because that really was funny. It had a big. We met at a foam.
Oh,
It had the
see, now
silver.
he's giving you what you want.
It
Now
had,
you've
it had
got-
the silver prongs
we
on
can
it. And had a
edit this
big
together.
core.
Yeah.
You find the charger for.
I think it's funny. We were talking the other day about this. It's like, because like I'm in a dinosaur outfit and I got a tiny dog, and it's like the most when I would go into clubs, people were just like, what are you doing? What is this shit show? I remember setting up all my gear, and this comedian in the UK just being absolutely disgusted. He said, you know what? When I went to Australia, all I had with me was 4 pairs of underwear. And I was like, Well, I don't.
Yeah, why are you don't have to live like that.
I think you could bring some clothes.
Right.
I think that's still staying true to your art. But then you do it, and it's like, but once you have a few of those things, they're like, for me, it was like Penn and Teller. Like, loved what I did, and like Paul said some like incredible highlights over the years, and we were talking about it. So once you have those, people can't take it away anymore.
Right.
When if somebody like says something rude or whatever to me about my act, it just sort of like it's water off a duck's back now.
Well, there's personal taste and there's like respect, and they're kind of some things might not be to
But
someone's
also,
taste, but
you can't argue when it's good.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's
You can
good.
say, "Oh, I'm not into it," but you can't say, "Oh, it's not good."
I might get absolutely shot down for this. When I say I'm not a Beyonce fan, I mean like I don't have her albums and everything, but I
Right.
went to that concert and I was there going just the craft and the show and the big
Oh,
and,
it
and
must
I
have-
was like, and obviously now I am a fan, but like what I mean is, I don't know her music other than pop culture,
Yeah.
but I went to that and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this could be it's just one of the greatest entertainers I've ever seen and one of the most amazing shows
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
I call her Bed Bath and Beyonce. No, but it's true about that. When you go see something, you don't have to. And we all get this. I get it every night. My meet and greet, they'll say, we didn't want to come to this.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Or my husband brought my
Yeah,
wife
they all
brought
do
me.
it.
Yeah, you were
She-
much funnier
This
than
one
I
hates
thought.
you, but where
Yeah.
she's fought all day.
Yeah.
And I say, me too. I didn't want to come, but I had to. But they always, and it's just so funny because it happens every day. It's almost
Yeah.
like you're like, God dang, people just always say that.
And
to
it's
you.
easy to focus on the thing that they're not trying to give you, which
Right.
is like mentioning that. But
I hope
there
it's
is
good, and I
actually
hope it's
something-
good because I
there
brought.
is something awesome in that because what
That-
the real reason for getting to that is for them to say, we loved you. And I
Right.
suppose there's something better knowing that little bit of like, they weren't even in the mood for it. And
Right.
do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
We have
no,
some-
I get that a lot.
We have some billboards for the show at the moment, which is Piff the Magic Dragon, surprisingly good.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah. Because all the time people come up to us and
I hate magic. You get that all the time, right?
hate magic.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I hate
Which is
comedy.
understandable.
We had a publicist that we were trying to work with for a long time, and we were chasing them, and we couldn't get them to like really talk to us. And then, we did that for so long. I went off the idea. I was like, well, this is not the person we need representing us. But they eventually came to the show, and as soon as the show finished, they ran out and they were like, oh my God, I loved it. And I was like, oh, thank you. They said, no, you don't understand. It's really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know. I understand you didn't think it was good.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't end up using that guy at all. But it's just like,
Just out of spite,
people just
more than
tell you,
anything.
exactly. People just tell you what they're really
Yeah.
thinking
But
without
I always think it's
realizing.
weird when people go like, oh, and I don't like comedy. I feel like it's like saying I don't like music or
Yeah.
breathing or
Yeah,
it's
breathe-
like
yeah.
like
Not
what you
really
mean
a
is
big
you
fan
don't
of it.
like what you thought was that whole genre. you
Yeah.
know?
And it's all right. When people come in with low expectations, it's easier to exceed them as well.
Oh yeah. Better than
Just, like,
there's
blow 'em
nothing
away.
worse than having high expectations. I
Yeah,
saw your
exactly.
It was so good. I
You
hope it's
do
good
it.
tonight. I'm like, I do too.
Oh, it's
Shit,
nothing
shit.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love Steve. He's the funniest at the office party, and then you
Yeah,
get to the
yeah,
office party
Jesus.
like, oh god.
Yeah, we
Steve's
do a
the
pre-show
worst.
meet and greet, and I actually just cancel them for the rest of the year. But I'm always a bit like I don't want to meet people before the show.
Okay, but this is weird. So my whole career, we had after show meet and greets.
Yeah.
Always. And I don't know what happened one time. We had moved it. We had to move it to be before the show. I don't know if it was on the road or if it was here in Vegas. And then all of a sudden I was like, I kind of like the before, which is I don't like before or after, to be honest with you,
Right.
right? You just want to go hide. But I somehow we moved them to the fore, and I think we get more. One, you get the feel of the odd. I get a feel of what they're gonna like.
Yeah.
Last night, this has got a good energy. This is gonna be a good crowd. They're already jazzed just for the meet and greet, and they would say things like that, like And my mom hates you, but she's here. She's fought all day. She didn't want to come. She said, "Oh, I did. Well, you hold on a sec." But then you start putting that in the show, and the after show, you're already tired. And that's when I'm more worried. You come out and they're like, "Hey, did you have a good time?" I said, "Oh, yeah, it was good."
I feel
Yeah,
it came,
right.
I feel like it came from the rock and roll world where like,
I think before
no
you-
one's going to be in any
Everyone's
state
excited,
after a
right.
show if they've
Yeah,
played.
before they're so excited they can't wait. After they're like, yeah, it was all right.
right.
That's what I'm worried
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
They're like, no, it was good. It was good. You didn't do the thing with that one you did. I'm like, oh, the big charger. Yeah, I like the big charger.
Yeah, the
I'm like,
big charger.
That might be a
We,
Vegas thing.
we
though,
actually
as well.
get we do a free meet and greet for everyone after the show. So we do a paid one where we do like tricks and all this all this stuff that we spend like 20 minutes with them. And I like meeting the people, but yeah, I always feel like, oh God, I hope I don't let these people down. And then after the show, we say, hey, you can come back and cut the line if you want. And if they don't come back after the show, I'm like, oh no.
yeah,
But most of the time they do and they loved it.
yeah,
And there's nothing better. It's like,
yeah.
you gave them a great night.
Meet and greet.
Yeah, I feel like the pre-show meet and greet is definitely left from, I don't think that the Rolling Stones were in any fit state at the end of their gig to be meeting the public.
Right, sure,
Or public that they didn't want to
Right,
meet, should
right.
we say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so let's
most-
get that.
they
Let's
do
get
it
the
before-
paid customers done
before
before.
the show. Yeah, true. But yeah, they're they're fans. Oh, and I always want to call it an eat and greet, and have people we just eat. I eat and we eat and greet. I
Eat
greet
and
them, and yeah, we greet. And we eat something and we leave.
I worked with a promoter who called them Greet the Meat.
Greet the meat.
Greet the meat. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's
Oh,
awful.
nice, great.
That's not a nice way to talk about the people who
No,
bought
is
tickets to your show.
No.
Oh damn! One of the,
I had a sound guy once say, well, when the meat baffles get in here, it
Wait, the
won't-
what? When the what?
Well, a baffle that is the acoustic equipment for like dampening sound.
Okay.
And so he was referring because a room sounds different when there's audience in it, some particular rooms because of
Yeah.
the way the sound bounces back. So he's like, oh, when the meat baffles get in here, it
Oh.
won't sound
oh,
as bad.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
God, that's great.
I was like, but that does sound like something a sound guy would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually.
right.
One of the funniest people meet and greet stories that I've heard was Howie Mandel. He's a prankster, and he always has been. But he tells us one, and he's told it so many times that I know it's true. He would have his meet and greets. I don't know before the show. I don't remember. It doesn't matter for the purpose of this. But they would all line up, and he had a table, a card table with a thing over it. Looked like a buffet table, and his pictures were on the thing. He would sit under the table, so people would come in. The manager lined them all in there, and they're all waiting for him to come and sit behind the table. Because all the pictures, and so he'd say, from under the table, he'd say, whoever's next can come in, and they're all looking around, right? And he would literally, people would get on the ground, go under the table, and he'd shake their hand. And then he'd grab a picture and he'd sign down there, and they go back out. And he'd come, line by one would go
Like a
under
fort.
the table like a fort. And he'd go, "How are you? Good to see you. How are you? Thanks for coming to the show." And then he'd say, "I'll sign your picture." And how great is that? Committing to that,
That
and the
is so
people were
great.
like,
I,
"I
kinda
guess you
love
got to
that.
get under the." No, it's great. It's like you would steal that.
It's so
Great idea.
Yeah.
People who just do. And they're all walking out going, "Wow, he really is a germaphobe. Wow, he really is."
I think
His
that was even
isolation
prior to him
booth.
being a germaphobe. It was just back in the day
It's
because
so
it was
great.
early on. But he's
love
always
that.
would do those stupid things, which we all kind of do too. But that was a great meet and greet
That
one.
was
Like
a
how do
great
you,
one.
he was under the table. He didn't want to see people,
I love it.
Wizard
but
of
he would
Oz.
still see him. He would just be in his fort, like you said. He would just be under the table, in
Yeah,
the dark.
I
In the
love-
dark. No,
I'm sort of like just those sort of surprising things where somebody's going the extra mile when you
Right.
just don't have to do it.
Well,
Right.
you've got a great one. I
What's
love
that?
that when people ask for something signed and you've got a stamp.
Yeah, got definitely signed by
Oh,
a Piff stamp.
It's got
Oh,
like a
that's great.
librarian
Yeah.
stamp.
That's great.
I like those.
No, but
bits.
we did that stuff all the time. The other thing was we went to see Jade and I, and her security came out and he said, "Oh, you guys excited about seeing J-Lo?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, you guys know her music, you know her films, yeah." Well, she does not know you. So if you reach into your pocket, you will be tased. If you give her a gift, you will be tased. If you do this, and it was just like these 12 things that you could do to get tased by J-Lo. And so like we were all like just like, okay, we're sorry, and just like,
Yeah.
hello J-Lo, we've got to move along. Don't want to get tased. And so Jade started doing that speech for me at our meet and greet, and
What, the same way.
same way.
Oh, that's hilarious.
No eye contact. if you have a gift, burn it, all that sort of
Oh,
stuff.
like as a bit. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they loved it. So I loved it.
I love that. I can't remember who it was. You might know, but
But yeah, I did those. I did the definitely signed by stamp, and people would get upset that I didn't sign it.
right.
So I had to like
Sign
go
it
back
as well.
and sign it like being
I
told off.
can't remember who it was, but it was like another lounge icon act, like an old Vegas. I don't want to say old because it's older, but I'm genuinely, it's kind of like the era I wish I was in, and probably most people think my act should have been in that era too. But it was a pretty famous comic or stand up, and they'd be out. Not quite milling about, but at the door as you're coming in, like an usher almost. But glass of alcohol in one hand and a cigar in the other. Can't for the life remember. I'm not sure it was in Vegas, but it was someone they wouldn't expect when you come to
Oh,
see
wow.
their show that they're
He
going to
would
be
be-
meeting you.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, the reason for the two props was no handshake. He'd be like, oh, thanks for
Ah.
coming. And obviously it
Oh,
wasn't
that's
everyone.
such a
Yeah,
good
good
idea.
idea.
He'd be like, oh, thanks for coming. Nice to see you. And the ushers would be keeping them moving. There's no time for a photo, no time for but he's just there.
That's
and no one's
great.
expecting it. And so then they come in, and then I'm sure he would biff off by the time most of the people were in and hide somewhere. But then the band would play, and please welcome to the stage. I gotta remember from my friend who it was, so and so, and he'd come out through the audience and up as if he'd been at the door the whole time.
Right.
And the warmth. Firstly, he was quite famous, so they weren't. I wish I could remember who it was. They weren't expecting that, so
Right.
they've already exceeded their expectations. And then his style was kind of more relaxed. And then by the time you walk up on the stage, I was like, well. Wow, that guy's already gone above and beyond,
Wow.
and now he's starting his act. And he would only stand there for like the first 70% of the crowd that would see
Well.
him as they walked in. I thought it was such a great little trick, but also like gave them something, but also like you almost warmed them up for you, you know.
Yeah.
What was it like here when you first came here? What year was that?
It's all black and white.
Yeah.
First came here, my goodness, there was half of the hotels you see now.
Yeah.
So the number of showrooms and people that performed here was, half of what we have now, maybe 2/3 of what we had.
Well,
Who was
if you
still-
put all the arenas and stadiums in now, it's
Yeah,
gotta
I
be
mean
like
they
a
weren't.
tenth of
I mean
it.
the MGM Grand had just been built when
Yeah.
I got, so that was brand new.
Who was still playing here who we may have lost or whatever, but it's like when you were here, you're like, oh my God, so and so.
Was Tom Jones playing?
Because you've
this-
worked
that
with
night?
a
Yeah,
lot
Tom
of big names
Jones,
over the
Carlin. But,
Yeah.
well, when I was playing the MGM Grand, we say split the room with him. We shared the room would be better. I do my 2 week. The two was Tom Jones. I would come in.
Yeah.
George Carlin.
Were Penn and Teller still there?
I think Penn and Teller might have been, or they came after that. But it was always the big names like
Yeah.
and go see Rodney Dangerfield, Tom Jones, Carlin, and it was great. Tom Jones, Rodney was one of the best ones. He told me to come backstage, and I had my mom with me, I think, and he opens the door. The doors already open. It's the same room I would use, and he has just a robe on, and just open, and he's just like, "Hey, Mom," and I was like, "Oh, Jesus," it just again, not if he did it on purpose.
Right.
It's just brilliant,
Yeah.
I've had that happen a few times. I don't know why people think I need to see that, but
Open.
I was
robes
on a
couple
movie
of
set
times.
with Alec Baldwin, and they take me up. They're filming this scene, and I'm supposed to go. No, I was filming Bob. He was up filming with the woman from Sex and the City, and so I'm like, I want to say hi to him because I'm filming something without him that day in a studio. They said, yeah, no, Alec wants to meet you. I said, great. So they take me up all this stairwell and through the production, and he's standing there. She walks out. She says, oh, hey, you're in the movie. Yeah, real nice. Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall.
Then he walks out, completely same thing, just buck naked, just a robe open, and he's like, I always wanted to be, thanks for being in the movie. And I was like, I said, thanks for, which one do I shake? It was just the most bizarre thing. And I remember thinking like, I would probably close that.
Yeah.
It was just a lot. It was not a lot. It was just a lot. There's a lot of hair, it's just a lot. I'm like,
I mean, when Carrot Top is telling you
it's a lot
this
of
is
hair.
a lot,
This
this is
is
a
a
bit
lot.
much.
So
Yeah.
It's a bit
when I'm
much.
saying it's a bit much,
Like, it's a bit much.
It was,
that's
but
something
yeah, and then I,
people
you know,
assume because you're such a larger than life
Yeah,
character.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it's so weird, isn't it?
I would never
You
do that to
create
somebody.
something.
I don't
Right.
think anyone would
Right.
assume.
But it's interesting. You created like a brand. You must be. Your name has been used as like I have a joke about being in Vegas when I say, and I name check you, and it's nothing about you. It's just that your brand is so everybody knows Carrot Top.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you've been in a lot of other people's material, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have been in a lot of people's material.
I think Copperfield, you.
I feel like there's a.
I think you're doing something right. When
Well,
you're
yeah,
like,
the best one
when you've
was
got a list of
yeah,
people
no,
that are
yeah.
using your.
Well, the best one we
name.
show it in the show overnight, and it's one of
like-
those moments that just every night I watch it, I just like. So there's a George Carlin bit, in one of his specials, and he says, "You go to the airport and they ask you who packed your bags." And did you pack your bags yourself? He goes, no, Carrot Top packed my bag. And we show the clip, and it's like the whole crowd goes nuts.
Right.
And then I get chills, and I watch it, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I remember when it happened. The special came out, and people were like, it was before you had social media.
Yeah.
It would just say, "Have you seen the new HBO special?" And I said, "No." And I said, "He mentioned you," and I'm like, "He mentions me in an HBO special?" And I go, "Yeah," and it's funny. He says, "Who packed your bags?" Fucking Carrot Top packed my bags. Next question. And it's just the people show it on thing, but
That's like
that
the
was
greatest
that was
commercial ever.
that was it is
Yeah.
that was the epitome of people using me as a punchline.
Well, there's like the
or you see-
punchline of like because someone's done something or whatever, but like Copperfield, people think magic that Vegas. It's
Right.
Copper, like that's
Yeah,
my little
right.
character that when I was a Mad Apple, I was playing this guy from the Bronx, and I said, I'm here on a comedy exchange tonight. I get to play Vegas, and Carrot Top's driving Uber in the Bronx, and that was the joke. But it's like I needed a name that was
Right.
like synonymous,
everyone,
and
yeah.
it is funny,
Right,
and I'm
yeah.
like, and it would be funny that I got the gig and someone else has got to do this, and it's 2 syllables, and so it's like. I'm looking for my writer's validation.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
No, I'm
yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I get
But it's so funny. Like you've done something right when it's like, bam. Okay, I know it's Heinz. It's this. It's
Yeah,
that. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's
But
so
I feel
cool.
like there's also
so
like
cool.
a bit of a renaissance in the last few months. Like Joe Rogan is going on about how much he loves you. You crushed on Kill Tony. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was that? Because I look
The
at
Kill
that
Tony?
thing and I go, I mean, I'm sure. Well, you've just talked about it. We think that everyone's fearless, but it's like some of those those videos are brutal, but it's so popular and so good. And there's expectation, whereas it's easy for someone that's not known to just go on there and like be a surprise. Like you're saying, if you're lower expectations, it's easier. But like, how
well,
was it?
no, I
going?
had a lot of hesitation about it because I didn't really know him, and I know the show's kind of. I mean, it's now that I've done it, I know a little more about
Yeah.
how the feel of it, and it's not really as brutal.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when I told him, I got on the phone with him before I did it. I said, "Listen, I'm not a mean guy. Like
Yeah.
every time I've been asked to be a judge on something, I've always turned it down because
Yeah,
I
I don't-
can't.
I
I
don't
can't
like
tell
judging.
people.
I
I don't
don't
like
like
criticizing
roasting.
people,
Yeah. I hate.
and I
hate
don't like
roasting.
same unless it's just about same exact. So he said to me, "No, you just be you." And I said, "I know, but I watched the show and everybody's just ripping on these young comics." And I said, coming from me, the guy that got ripped on my whole life,
Right.
including
Right.
till now, for me to sit up and say, well, now what does Carrot Top have to add to my? And once we did it, it was not only, it was so fun, and I did play myself. I wasn't mean.
Yeah.
I would be honest. I said that was great, and he said, "Oh well, thanks." And they do one of these like Carrot Top, so it was good. I said, however, I would change one thing. And they were in a nice way, just to critique him.
Yeah.
And it was just an observation. And once I did it, he was like, "Oh," and he walked up to me after. He says, "That's going to be my new." He walked out. And he was about 4 feet, maybe 4 feet tall. And it's an old, although they didn't plan it. See, when a short guy comes or a tall guy comes out and the microphone
Yeah.
stand
Right.
is too high or too short, that's 1,000 people
Yeah.
have done, right? 1,000. But Steve Martin did the Ready for the Incredible Shrinking Man and Close Your Eyes, and he did. But this guy didn't plan it. He came out. The guy before him was like 6'5". He left the mic there, and this guy comes out and he grabs the mic and puts the stand back and goes into his act, and I'm like.
Wow, yeah.
So he gets all done, and I said, "It was great." And he said, "Yeah." Any nothing to Tony. Anything I said there's one thing I don't know if you plan it every night, but do you always plan? You don't go after the same guy, do you? He's like, no, I've never done this. I said, well, use the mic. You should have said something about the mic right away, like when you pulled it up. Just leave it there and say, can't see me or move it back. Something. And he said, well, that would be a prop. And I said, no, it's not it's already there. You're not doing it as a prop. It's just reference it. You're not using it. You're not. It's not a. It's a prop.
Yeah,
which is it is though. It's a prop. It's there.
Yeah, like the floor is a prop.
Right. But and I say, people have always used the microphone stand for jokes. That's, from day one, it had one round thing. Some people are like, my one arm's bigger. Right. Use it as a metal detector. Thousands of fucking jokes with microphones. I just told you should have referenced it. And then after he's one of the props, I said, no, it's not. You're a prop act. It's a prop that you could utilize if it's going to be there. Make a joke about it. Because it was kind of awkward that you just put it back and didn't have anything funny about it. And then he came over later and said, I'm going to use that. I said, well,
you're going to kill.
Try it.
It's going to kill.
It'll kill. It'll be better than you just moving the mic.
And if not, we will send you a novelty iPhone 12 charger. Try that. And you can be like, this is a normal size charger. And then you've got another bit. But I think that's probably good because those shows, they need light and shade, right? And they don't need everybody to be roasting everybody. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a really fun show.
Yeah,
I'm doing it again, I think, in a couple weeks. So it's going to be
great.
And the second time will be, probably more fun because I know now. Yeah. I know that because I was, I didn't know if they were. You just never know. Like, they really like me.
Yeah, are you being sort of?
I felt like that with Joe Rogan. I was like, I was just apprehensive. Just because, oh man, am I going to go on there and they're going to, Howard Stern, way back when I did, this is way back in the 90s. They put you in this little room. Literally, you couldn't even fit these two chairs in this room. And there's a speaker, and me and my publicist and whoever was with me, you're just waiting. And they talk about you for 10 minutes. So they're going on, Carrot Top, the thing is weird, and he's got a strange whatever, and is he weird looking to you? And where I'm sitting there, and then they go,
and they're doing it on purpose. You're overhearing. You're overhearing a conversation that he knows you're hearing.
Right.
That's horrible.
And then they say, all right, I bring him in.
Wow.
And you walk in, and the first thing he says to me is, oh Jesus, you're a good-looking guy. I said, what did you? He said, I thought you were some weird. You're a good looking. And then Robin chimes in, you're very handsome. And oh my God, you have great eyebrows. I'm like, eyebrows? She's like, there was a picture. There's a picture in People magazine when they took it and I had this fucking. I'm like, well, it was altered. This is my eyebrow. Right. It was just the weirdest beginning of a show. You actually are handsome, man. I like your eyebrows. I'm like, my eyebrows, Jesus Christ. But it turned out to be a great interview, and he loved me. But I didn't. I was terrified going in, thinking, oh man.
Oh, I think I'd have left.
I'm going to get lambasted. I'm going to sit there and.
He was one of the judges on AGT when I was on it. And I walked out.
God, was that how long ago you were? Because he was
10 years ago.
It was like Hasselhoff, then him, right?
Yeah, I think
so. Was it like season 3?
No, it's season 10.
Was it? Oh.
He's 20 now, so 10 years ago.
God.
So I walked out, and one of the things I love is when people roll their eyes at me at the beginning, because I know I've got all the jokes ready to go. I know I'm going to turn it around. And he was just like, oh my God, what the fuck is this shit? And then as soon as I started, he loved it, and he became,
well,
my biggest
that opening
cheerleader.
picture has every trapping of someone who's just gone, I'm gonna go on America's Got Talent dressed like a dragon and do something, and then there's no act. But that's how it started for you. But then you got an act.
Wait, did it work? Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, he's such a legend, that guy.
Yeah, he was nice to me too. I just, I judge people. They were nice to me. Nice to me. People, Bill Maher. Certain people, they just always been nice to me, and the ones that aren't nice to me, I don't bring them up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you don't talk about them.
There's enough people being nice. Yeah,
there's enough nice people. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, there's not been that many mean people, but a lot of nice people.
You find what you're looking for, I think.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah.
I mean,
obviously, when you leave this room, then we start the real lambasting.
Sure.
That's.
I remember when Shania Twain just was gushing over you. She came and says, "Have you seen? This is the funniest. You got to see." She drug me down there, and And it was great. And she just was like, right? And I'm like, yeah.
That's so
she's-
cool
yeah.
about this town. I mean, like, also, you know, for me, I think that's talk about balance on a show. Like, I'm sat here with you two, and it feels so normal, but it's like there's also part of me that's like, oh my god, like my friend is in Vegas doing a show in this
Yeah.
space. I'm
That
just
was the
sitting next
first,
to
the
Carrot Top.
first year I
I'm
knew you. I was like,
it's
oh
just
my
like,
God.
That's
Carrot
what's so
Top
awesome about
Carrot
this
Top knows
space.
my name.
And I
wish
say this to people all the time when they go, oh, I live in Vegas or whatever. And then they sort of think about it. I'm like, well, firstly, it's really cool. A lot of the stuff that's happening here, it's really even more amazing things happening. But I'm like, that there is a community, and it's like, where else would Shania Twain have, you know, come across your show? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Damn.
if you're touring, it's probably not going to happen, you know, but here you're in such close proximity that eventually you're like, you move here and 5 years later, you're finally sitting next
You
to Carrot
said
Top, you know? But you know what I mean? It's such a cool town for that. What we should actually find out is for someone that's been in this town for, you know, quite a while, we should find out.
Well, that
bit of
is that you
Vegas
do
stuff.
see that. I mean, you know, from that, this kind of sightings. I mean, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Certain people that come to your show, yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, they're just people. I lived in LA for too long. That you know, you kind of. I mean, you're always starstruck, but I'm at Starbucks and I'm like,
Right.
that looks like Jack Nicholson. I'm like, no, it is Jack. I forget I'm in Malibu. It is Jack Nicholson. Like, it's just, you know, that's Cher getting ice cream. Oh, it is Cher getting it. You know,
Yeah.
you're in Hollywood. You're in Beverly Hills. So that is, you know,
That's
you
what
just-
you're going to see.
and it's always weird. The hotel I was, you know, whether New York or LA, there are always these, you know, you sit down at the bar and you look over and like, geez, kind of. I mean, it's nice. It was Don King, me, Cyndi Lauper, U2, and there's one other from the David Letterman's band leader,
oh, yeah.
Paul Schaefer, and his buddy Eugene Levy, and I'm like, all in the same.
This is literally
And
the
I'm
opening
like,
to a
what?
joke.
And I don't know. I'm not gonna stop. It's, you know, to say hi to any of these people. I want to, but I'm not gonna. You know,
Right.
maybe they'll say, "Oh, hi." So I'm just. I look. I have just had ordered a drink, and Don King says to me, "You got some weird hair," and I just thought. It's coming from Don King. Like he didn't do it on purpose. He
No.
really thought I had weird hair. And I just was like,
that's
Don
brilliant.
fucking awesome.
says you had
Don
weird
King.
hair.
It was just so awesome. And I was
I
like,
mean, that's.
I said, right?
no
And
one
I
would
thought,
believe you if you put that
No,
on your
no,
poster, but
no.
it's great.
It'd be in a movie that'd be too scripted, but he said, yeah, you got some weird hair.
That's
and I said,
what's so
thank you.
awesome.
And I looked, you know, Cindy, and then when following Paul Schaefer and then went to walk out, because Paul, I knew, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we would say we're best friend, but he knew. So he said, hey, you know, Eugene, and it was just, that was
Surreal.
awesome. Yeah, surreal. And you're like, Paul Schaefer and Eugene Levy. It's like, how are you guys friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't run any of my social media. Do you do any of that
Do
stuff?
I? What?
Do you do any of your social media?
Some of it.
Oh, you do?
I mean, just personal posts if I'm on a plane or I do,
Yeah.
you know, something happens.
Come on.
Something
Are you
happens.
telling me you don't follow Carrot Top?
No, I don't. I deleted everything again.
No, you don't have anything anymore.
I
No.
think I might have to.
I-
I think I
I-
follow you.
I
Oh.
follow you.
Do we follow?
There's
Carrot
there's
Top?
some
I
great
think
late
so.
night
I
lip
think so.
syncing. I
Janice
always
follows
like
you.
it. I love
think,
it.
I thought you did though because I follow you, and
No,
I think it said following.
I think Piff
I think you do.
follows
You never comment or like anything I do, but,
No,
but
I'm
yeah,
on it. Yeah.
He's not on it. The account will definitely.
All
be
I
fun.
do, the only thing I
Janice will
do
be
is I
following
doom
you.
scroll, like, and then it, you know, you get like the algorithm.
Yeah, if you have ADHD,
Oh.
it's not good.
I just post things that are fun for me. I don't. I mean, you see you can tell the ones that I don't post are about business ones or something.
Yeah,
But if it's just something that happened to me in a plane or I find
yeah,
something
yeah. I
humorous,
see you in Florida a lot. now,
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
about
I
it.
see you in Florida having a good old sing song.
I was going to do this.
I
on the
like
pl- I was going to
that.
do this. Yeah,
It's
I
always
like
cheer.
doing a
I'm
little
like, this
singing.
guy is having a good
Yeah,
time, and I
just
like
singing
that.
along.
It always makes
I was just on
fun.
the plane. A couple things happened on the plane. The planes we get a lot of material out of. This guy, they come by with the towel.
Yeah.
You give the hot towel. Great, and that's really hot. You're like, oh fuck. So they give you a towel and you wipe your hands with it and you put it there and they come by with the prompt. Right. I'm just on a flight that they give out the hot towels. These two guys in here and the guy next to me. They don't know each other. They give them the towel, and not only they're wiping their face with it, which is I think it's just weird. And he takes his hat off. He's doing his head and his fucking arms.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, all of them. And I'm like, It's not. It's for your hands before they feed you. It's not. You take a fucking bath before you get on the plane. This guy's wiping legs down his armpits. Like, God damn.
That's horrible.
I said, no, I'm just sitting. I'm watching. I'm like, God Almighty.
On a long haul flight, I will put it just the steam like this.
Really?
That is quite nice.
I said the face like see that, but then they start wiping their arms and legs
No,
down.
no,
with
it's
it.
just
Took
supposed
his
to,
hat,
like-
hat off.
I don't think it's
his
even
Texas
like
hat on.
I don't think it's even supposed to be washing. I think it's supposed to be like kind of therapeutic or
It's
just
just-
like
it's
hot.
when you
That's
want-
why it's
It's
hot.
just
really
hot.
understand
You
what
put
it's
your
for.
hands and then you
it's
eat.
like
right?
and also it's cold within 2. You're like you've either got it's either that
So it's
or
scalding
that.
or nothing.
By the time you get there or wherever else,
I always ask the guy next to me if he could feed me. I said, "Can you?" Just,
is that when you're?
Yeah.
you're I
Like,
used
can
to
you-
like. Who used to do? Was it Johnny or Billy McComb or someone used to do the bit where they'd get on the flight. And yeah, I love people that have airplane bits just for themselves. You know,
Yeah.
like they get on the flight and he'd say, "Oh, as he's coming in, he'd say to the cabin attendant, I need to take some medication. Would you mind just bring me a little water?" And she said, yeah, I'll get it for you now. He'd go straight to his seat, and then he'd sit down and then go up, and he'd go up to the air vent, and he'd go, "Could I have a glass of water, please?" And then he'd just sit down and wait for the water to arrive. Oh, thank you, sir. And everyone else would be like, "What the hell?" That was like a really
It's a good bit.
That's a really good little bit. Or you know, the little bulb with the with some whiskey or liquor in, and you go up and as if it's
Oh, right.
coming
Oh,
out of the overhead.
Sis?
I like those bits.
I don't really like talking to people in public.
Well,
so
now on
anything
plane-
like that.
Shtick and jokes on planes. Not a
yeah,
good idea.
the flight
these days.
attendant. I just got 2 days ago. I was on the plane, and they're so nice. They're like, "Can we get a picture before we land?" And I said, "Sure." And so I go up, and the ladies, so they're just these cute old ladies, and they were putting on lipstick, and I'm like, yeah, Jesus Christ, you know, they're getting ready for this picture. And she said, "Oh, you're so sweet. You're gonna take a picture." I said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go smoke a cigarette. I'll be right back." And just their reaction was so
Oh, on the
fucking
plane.
it's
I
great.
love it.
I said, "Yeah, we'll take it. You guys finish getting. I'm just gonna do a quick smoke a quick cigarette. I'll be right back." And they just were like, looked at me, and I'm like, "I'm kidding." She's like, "You can't." I said, "No, I'm not gonna smoke on the plane." They're in love with me. Like, "You can't, honey. You can't." I said, "No, I was kidding." But it was so perfect. Just the timing was like. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna? We're just getting ready." I said, "You got time. You got time. Take a quick smoke. Just a quick smoke." I did have a guy on the plane last trip home to Florida that did go into the bathroom and was smoking pot, and we're all. That's the story of
Oh,
my
you've
life.
killed
It
it.
doesn't stay. It doesn't
Oh,
stay
Yeah,
on.
see,
That's the
hour and a
story.
half,
Oh,
and
no.
it's
That's it right there.
That's
I'm
it.
good. I'm good for about
Oh, what kind of cheap piece of shit microphone arm is that?
this fucking thing.
Did you get it?
That's good. Even the mic was saying it's not a good story.
Even the
You don't need to
mic
hear
was
the
giving
story. The guy smoked, and then now he goes in there, but he was in there for like, longer than normal. So it's always weird when someone goes in there for like 10. Okay, whatever they're doing, it's just like it is hard to move in there. So maybe he's just trying to get in and get out and whatever, right? It's not like 10 minutes, and I've got a friend, and so she's like, I said, "There's someone in there," and she's like, "Well, he's been there for like 15." I said, "I know." And I mean, "Do you want to go?" Or am I like, "You go on?" He comes walking out at 15 minutes. And right when he opens the door, this big yellow siren. I've never seen a yellow siren on a plane.
Right.
It's like buried in it's like, it's a weird noise too. It's not like a, bong. It was just like, everybody's like, "What the?" And the flight attendant's like grabbing the mic, and they're like, and the guy walks and looks right at it. And all of a sudden the whole plane smells like pot. I mean, just like, so we're all like, "Dude." And he sits down behind me, sits down. I'm like, and flight attendant comes out. She's on the phone. Everybody's like, so then the pilot comes out. They have a meeting. They close the thing off. You can't go up there. And now they're having that paperwork. The guy's toast, right? Pilot, I'm reading his lips. He's like, let's let it go this time. And the lady's like, "No." The flight attendant's like, "No, I'm reporting this." So finally, they go, done. He comes back. She goes over and has this big long talk with him. And he goes back in. I'm like, oh, he goes back in. Swear to God, goes back in there again. This time, of course, he didn't smoke. And then we land. I'm like, oh, they're taking him away. No. He just walked off the plane. And I guess the pilot had said, "Yeah, we got to fill all this paperwork." He's like a cop. And
Right. You gotta do a lot
it's hot out. I don't want to get out of the car
Yeah.
and write
Wow.
this fucking ticket. Just go.
One of-
Really?
Yeah.
I was speaking to
That's crazy.
Tim the other day, and because we played Delta, and I love Delta, and he was
Yeah,
saying,
don't.
We're working on sponsorship. That's why
He
he was
was-
mentioning
yeah.
every,
I love
every
Delta.
episode.
I love Delta too, by the way.
Did you like like diamond medallion, whatever?
Yeah.
And he was getting a flight
Oh yes.
back from a gig.
Yes.
It was like a super early flight, so we got a first class ticket. And he gets on the plane, and there's no seat for him. The guy's like, "No, we had to downgrade you. You're now in a middle seat
In
at
the
the back." So he's like, "Okay, well, that's not great, but I ordered breakfast, so could I, at least have my breakfast?" And the
That
guy
I
was
paid
like,
for.
"You don't get breakfast in the back."
They said breakfast is for. Oh no, sir. Literally, it's like, sorry, we know you paid for that ticket, but we've had to downgrade you. He said, "Well, I also paid for breakfast." Can I said, "No, sorry, sir. Breakfast is for first class."
I don't think he was apologetic.
No.
And then he goes, he sits there, and he's all pissy and like frustrated. And the attendant comes over to him. And they go, "Are we gonna have a problem?
Oh.
Do we need to get you off this plane?" They were gonna deplane him, and in the end, they didn't even like refund his ticket.
Oh well.
Yeah,
But hey, on whatever airline, Garrett. It's because was the pilot your brother?
Yeah, Garrett. yeah.
He's like, Garrett doesn't want to fill out
Oh, yeah.
paperwork.
I'll leave you on this one. This is not that I ended the podcast myself, but
you can
That's
podcast
assertive.
yourself.
That's
that's good,
how-
right? I
that's
mean,
how you-
I'll
good
end.
balance.
I'm
I like
gonna end
that.
this. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna keep that. It's better than
Well, let me
saying
end,
I've had
let me
enough
end
of
on
you.
this. And I was just again plain, like I said, I really don't do this in my show, but it's one of those things you can think about doing it because it's real life stuff that I was, and especially on planes. Like your buddy just, that shit happens, right? Just on a plane, and the flight attendant came on and said, we have a peanut allergy. On the plane today, we have someone that's got peanut allergy. So we'd like to ask everybody if they would refrain from eating anything with peanuts. We'd appreciate it, and the patient, the passenger would really appreciate it as well. Thank you for your understanding. And it's kind of a weird vibe over the plane. Like everyone, you just hear people kind of commenting. And this guy next to me, big fat redneck, was got his ball cap on, and what made it funny was it was the timing of it. He goes, "So the passenger would really appreciate it, and we would too. Thank you for your understanding." And she puts the thing down, and he reaches under his thing, and where he got his magazines and his
Yeah.
whatever, and he pulls out a bag of peanut M&Ms, and he rips it open, and he looks over at me and goes, "They'll be all right." And I just laughed so hard. I got my book out, and I started writing this down. He goes, "Is that going on your show?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "You're not going to put me in it." And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Well, let me get my phone." So I got my phone. I said, now you're, and he's like, no. I'm like, "No, you're going to be in the show." It was just how he did it.
Yeah.
He's just, "He'll be all right." Fucking shit.
One of my friends killed somebody on the plane like that.
Killed him?
Yeah, with a peanut allergy.
Hang
They
on.
choke him?
Literally killed him.
Firstly, you're just like really trying to ruin this bit for.
No,
Tarot
yeah,
Top.
that's what
It's like
happened.
now
Like,
He
she
killed
was a-
him?
But
One of your friends.
one of our friends.
our friends.
One of our friends.
You're an accomplice.
Did they choke on
Did
the
I do
peanut?
this?
Did they
No,
choke?
they
Did
had
they
it.
choke on it, or did
They had the allergy.
and
Why?
they didn't know, and they,
They didn't
opened-
know.
Oh, they didn't
and
know.
They didn't know, and the person died next to them.
Wow.
And on that bombshell,
Fly Delta.
Fly Delta.
They give
thank
you nuts.
Carrot Top, aka
We're nuts.
my dear friend Scott.
Yes, thank you, babe.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thanks
Thank
so
you for
much.
that was fun. Thanks for having me
So
on. You guys
great.
were really, really, really
Oh,
fun.
let's have you back.
Yeah.
Come back, please.
Yeah.
I'm
Every
sure there's
week.
even more stories.
The old comic would say, "This was more than a thrill; it was an inconvenience."
Contractual
Forgot who used to say that.
obligation.
Thanks for listening to What Happened in Vegas. Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. Preferably a nice one, right?
Yeah. If you hated it, find 5 places you hated it and give us a star for each of those.
Yeah, if you get 5 good things from a podcast, that's
Yeah.
enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.